So I accidentally deleted a good portion of this shading video, but I'm just going to show you what I did here. This type of shading is called continuous tone shading. It's one of the most basic types of shading, the kind of first one we learned. You're basically coloring in your form and you're drawing in with your pencil. You're going to apply a little more pressure to areas that are dark and a little less pressure to areas that are light, and you can actually do that by just the way you hold your pencil. So if you move your hand closer down to the lead, you can put more pressure on the pencil, and if you move your hand closer to the eraser, you're going to put less pressure. And it's okay if you're kind of messy with this. That's why you have an eraser. You can come back and kind of clean things up and fix any extraneous marks or anything like that. So what I'm going to do next is I added a cast shadow to the base of this tiki, and I'm going to cut that cast shadow's edge with my eraser. So a lot of times people want to kind of outline that cast shadow, and what that does is it gives the cast shadow a bit of an edge, and it makes it look less like a cast shadow and more like an object. So what this does is it adds a lot of subtle transition from where the shadow stops and where the light begins. So this is a really good way to kind of add some subtlety and some soft edges back into your shading. This works really well on the core shadow as well, which is the shadow that's actually on your form, and you can erase out the highlights, and you can see areas where I did that, like on the tops of the cheeks and the kind of underside of the eyes, the top of the tiki, the ellipse there. I kind of erased back some of those textural details. So now I'm just kind of suffering over this cast shadow a bit. I'm realizing the direction of that cast shadow is a little bit off. So I'm trying to cut it down, and I'm going to reapply some pencil and layer it and move that shadow so it's kind of moving towards the left. So that's telling me that the light source is actually up above the tiki to the right and actually towards the back of the tiki. So it's really important if you're doing these kind of conceptual drawings, these kind of character drawings, and you're making up the light source, is to really think about how that light is going to shade that tiki. And the way I have the light now, a lot more of this tiki would be in shadow because it's actually not facing the light. So I kind of exaggerated the light a little bit in this just to kind of highlight the drawing. So now I'm going back and I'm adding a little more shadow at the nose, at the edge of the nose, and those areas are always going to be dark where forms meet. So that cheek is meeting that side of the nose, so that part of the form is going to be darker. So now I'm using my eraser, adding some highlights, kind of smudging it in. I'm being a little bit messy with this just because it's a quick sketch. And so that's basically how I add light and shadow. Sorry I missed a big part of the video, but hopefully you got the idea, and you can kind of move on from there.